Hello, I'm MC Toon, and it's Tuesday night. And I know I started pretty quick there, no intro roll, because I don't have a debate tonight. I might have one later, put out a couple things to see if somebody wants to join. But I had somebody scheduled for right now, Andy from Twitter, who went silent. I don't know what happened. He was a big-time Oakley fan, so maybe he did what his champion Oakley did and refused to debate outside of an echo chamber. Anyway, that didn't stop me. I've got some other stuff ready for you. I had other things, but I had a fantastic thing today. A submission to my Flat Earth Gravity Challenge. Now, I asked the submitter if he wanted to join. He said he had to work. So that's fine. I understand that. But I'm going to review what he sent. So I will first start with the actual details of my challenge. So right here we see on my website mctoon.net/gravity challenge, or you can find it right off the main web page on my website. Somebody that I challenged to debate in 2 hours is just responded to me. I'll have to check that in a minute. The $10,000 Flat Earth Gravity Challenge. So here's the essence of it. There is a downward acceleration. You can't deny that. F equals ma. So if there's an acceleration of masses, there's a force. So there's a force somewhere, somehow, accelerating things downward. Now, the acceleration is not that difficult to measure. It's not that hard to quantify. It's done typically in high school, maybe even middle school science classes. But it's measured much more precisely than that. There are things called gravimeters that measure the downward acceleration to 9 or more significant digits or significant figures. There's different types, but the really good ones, the cool ones, are they have an evacuated chamber. It's temperature controlled. They get as much air out as they can so that it interferes with the movement as little as possible. And it picks up a mass. It has, I think, 2 lasers, drops it. And when it intersects one laser, it intersects the other laser, it uses that, times it, and gets a very accurate reading of how the quantity of gravity in that particular, or the downward acceleration in that particular vicinity. There is something called the ISGN 71 network. And it is a catalog. It started in 1971 It's a catalog of thousands of measurements of the downward acceleration, and several of the same exact locations over time have been returned to see if there's variation. There is, typically in a very, very small, down 7 or 8 significant figures deep. So, and it varies. And this is the important thing. The quantity of the magnitude of the downward acceleration varies all over the Earth. It doesn't vary much in one particular spot, but it varies based on where you are. So the challenge is predict that magnitude. Now, I have devised a way using gravity to predict that magnitude. It's detailed in the challenge. The exact method that I use is detailed in that challenge. In essence, it uses Newton's universal law of gravitation. It also uses the WGS 84 ellipsoids and the elevation and the rotation of the Earth. It puts all those together, so you get the downward acceleration from gravity. You subtract the centrifugal force based on your elevation and your lateral velocity. The gravity, of course, is affected by your elevation as well. It's very close. Then the challenger does the same thing using their mechanism, whatever mechanism they want to use, but it can't use mass because gravity is mass attracting mass. So let me read here. The challenge is to provide an alternative mechanism to accurately predict the measured downward force at different points on the Earth without using mass in any way. This means that mass cannot be hidden or obscured in any part of the formula, directly or indirectly. Neither can constants be included that incorporate the mass of the Earth or the gravitational constant. The alternative mechanism must be described such that the predicted downward force for any location and elevation on Earth can be calculated given the latitude, longitude, and elevation. Other data may be input to the formula if the data does not include measurements specific to the previously measured values for the strength of gravity or acceleration at the locations. Now, so they need to provide basically a formula, some sort of formula to predict the downward acceleration. And it's very clear. Now, if you've ever seen any flat Earth challenges, one thing they never have is clear acceptance criteria. My challenge is the opposite right here. Both methods, both methods will be used to predict the measured downward force at 10 published IGSN 71 gravity stations. These are publicly documented quantities. You can look them up. My challenge includes links to some of them. And compared to measured values, I will select 5 gravity stations, and the challenger selects 5 gravity stations. Right? We both do 5. So any challenge would include a mechanism to get a number out for a specific location and elevation, and 5 different gravity stations of the many thousands that are published. Each gravity station will have the globe mechanism predictions and the alternate mechanism predictions calculated. The differences between predicted values and measured values will be summed for all gravity stations for each mechanism. The mechanism with the smallest total error shall be declared the winning mechanism. That is a numerical answer, completely objective. There's no, I don't like it and I'm going to reject it. Flat Earthers, you don't know how to do challenges. This is how you do a challenge. It's unambiguous. Now, in case somebody did have some questions about how to do it and thought that my judgment on it wasn't acceptable, there's an arbitration option. If you don't like my answer, now Gregory didn't go for this, but there is a way. We'll assemble a panel of 3 judges. The judges must have a certain level of expertise and qualifications. It must be a professional mechanical, architectural, structural or aerospace engineer with at least 5 years experience and currently working in the field, or a mechanical, architectural, structural, or aerospace engineering professor at college level or higher with at least 5 years experience and currently teaching at that level, or a physics teacher with at least 5 years experience teaching physics at high school or college level and currently teaching at that level. Pretty easy to find any of those types of teachers. I choose one, Challenger chooses one, and then a Reddit thread subreddit will choose the third. Anyway, that's the essence of the challenge. So today I received the challenge. I got an email and he contacted me on Facebook Messenger. So here is the actual conversation I had with Gregory. It's pretty decent. He said he sent it. I said, I see their email. I was in a meeting at the time, so I had to wait. He's trying to cover the deeper complexities of this gravity issue. My case is essentially that there are innumerable forces responsible for vertical motion, and gravity never comes into discussion as necessary or even realistic. Well, did he actually do that? Anyway, he sent it. I read his challenge. I'll go over that in a second. And then my question is, did you read the gravity challenge? Because I don't think he did. So let's look at his submission. His submission is linked off of that very same page. I'll show you where it is if you want to follow along at home. mc2.net/gravity challenge, no space, no dash or anything. Right there, there's the submission, the gravity challenge submission from Gregory Garrett. Here's the page. There's the original Word doc, as well as I converted it to a PDF. And here is the PDF from Gregory. Now, it is a 12-page paper, and, well, 13 pages because of I used Google Docs to convert this from the Word format to PDF. So did he include the 5 gravity station choices and a mechanism for predicting the downward acceleration for any particular location on Earth? Well, we shall find out. Mr. United for the Children says, I see MC Toon worded that carefully to keep Professor Kyle Adams from being a judge. Shady Toon. Shady. Yes, Kyle Adams could not be a judge. All right, so he titled it. I mean, he knew what he was trying to submit. The acceleration of falling objects in relation to the atmospheric pressure and molecular density of an enclosed pressurized system according to the second law of thermodynamics. Oh, it's so cute. So cute when they think they understand things. All right, so heliocentrists. Now note, he is not a heliocentrist. He does not think the Earth is a sphere. I'll come back to that later, maybe. Claim gravity is a force that pulls objects downward toward the ground. Additionally, they when objects fall, they assert gravity causes them to accelerate. Acceleration is a change in velocity, and velocity in turn is a measure of speed and direction of motion. Thank you for that little physics lesson. The idea of gravity causes an object to fall at a faster velocity the longer the object falls. An object falls at 9.8 meters per second squared. Approximately. He did miss the approximately there. And he by 1 second, it's moving this fast. By 2 seconds, it's moving this fast. By 5 seconds, it's moving this fast. Here. Yeah. Yep. Good job. Anyway, so, and then he talks about terminal velocity, which is something that happens when the downward force and the upward force due to friction are equalized, or drag, it's called as well. Atmospheric pressure of a medium in the acceleration. So atmospheric pressure would be buoyancy, right? He said the formula, I don't know what this one is here. Volume V2 over 2. Yeah, I don't know. Ideal gas law and its relationship to atmospheric pressure. I don't know really how it didn't really seem to make sense that he didn't need to include this, but very nice. He tried to make it sound, posh or something. So we live in an enclosed pressurized system according to the second law of thermodynamics. Well, here he goes, not quite understanding the second law, but that's okay. As he does, I think he probably copy pasted this. The second law establishes a concept of entropy as a physical property of thermodynamic system. Entropy predicts the prediction of spontaneous processes, determines whether irreversible or impossible despite obeying the requirement of conservation of energy. That's right. See, this looks like it's from Wikipedia or Hyperphysics or something. Closed system can exchange energy, right? Examples of closed and open systems. Nowhere in there, just by, to be clear, nowhere in this copy paste, or maybe he wrote it himself, I'm not sure, does it say that the second law of thermodynamics requires a physical container. So we don't know why he bolded this. We live in an enclosed pressurized system according to the second law of thermodynamics. Don't know why. I'll make this a little bigger for you so you can read. Because then all the stuff following it did not support that claim. Anyway, free fall and the misleading terminology of acceleration of gravity, elephants and mice. Now here is where he gets a little funny. He calls gravity was the master stroke of deception by alchemical wizard and high Freemason Sir Isaac Newton. High Freemason, was he? I'd like to see what is a high Freemason. In order to bolster up the heliocentric model of the cosmos, complete with a Big Bang, billions of years of evolution and the possibility of alien life. Now, of course, the Big Bang came quite a few centuries later. Maybe he missed that. Big Bang was in the 1900s. I think we're less than 100 years ago from right now, Big Bang. So you messed up on that. You done screwed up, Ron. And then also evolution, Darwin and other associated evolution ideas were not around at the time of Newton. So it didn't come complete with it. Sorry, Gregory. Try to get a little more accurate on that. And the possibility of alien life. I don't know why he included that in there. But also, I don't know if people were talking about that in Newton's time a whole lot. So anyway, alchemical wizard. I love that. Anyway, in fact, the more empirically speaking objects fall or rise due to the relationship between object density, the index of buoyancy of an object. The index of buoyancy. Awesome. Dielectric forces, electromagnetic forces, aerodynamic resistance, thermodynamic exchange, the result of an object in a particular atmospheric medium. At no point is an imaginary, now here he's just stating his mantra again, is an imaginary attractive force emanating from the center of the earth either necessary or beneficial for predicting or calculating Newtonian motion. Well, we shall see if he does, in fact, use these 7 things to predict the downward acceleration of 9.8 meters per second squared. We'll see if he gets there. We'll see that. I think you know what's coming. You don't. At no point is gravity necessary, he says. Newton's math describes physical behavior and not causal forces. Correct. You don't need laws do not include cause. That's a separate exploration to figure out cause. All of Newton's laws of motion, including the math behind them, work perfectly fine without complicating matters with the idea of a fictional force pulling toward the center of the earth. The problem is that the laws of motion, Newton's laws of motion, there's 3. Outside of the laws of motion is Newton's law of gravitational attraction. He does tend to cherry pick. Cherry picking is, let's see, according to this book here, let me show you a little closer. How to Talk to a Science Denier by Lee McIntyre. 5, right there, beginning of chapter 2, 5 items that are characteristics of science deniers. Number 1, cherry picking. Cherry picking evidence. 2, belief in conspiracy theories. 3, reliance on fake experts and denigration of real experts. Committing logical errors. And 5th, setting impossible expectations for what science can achieve. We'll come back to that as well. Newton's second law of motion. This is written in mathematical form, F equals ma. Now, I happen to be wearing right now today my shirt that says F equals, well, not quite ma, is it? Here, I'm warm enough now. There you go. F equals change in velocity with respect to time, right? Acceleration is simplification of that. So I saw somebody mention Toonshine. I am a bit thirsty. So let me get a little of this. Okay. He goes into, again, he thinks this is his opportunity for it to be science class. But I appreciate that. It's pretty good. What is force, mass, and acceleration? Don't need to cover that. The magnitude of an object's acceleration, as described by Newton's second law, is the combined effect of 2 causes: the net balance of all external forces acting on an object, and the object's mass, depending on materials out of which it's made. Magnitude is inversely proportional to the object's mass. There may be other forces at play. I I don't know if he really quite understands that. Now, a lot of the time, flat earthers don't understand that two forces can apply to an object at the same time. He thinks that 2 is the limit. There's in fact more allowed than just 2. But anyway, the net balance of all external, okay, well, it's more than 2, I guess. All external forces acting on the object. Magnitude is directly proportional to this net resulting force and the object's mass. Depending on the materials of which it's made, magnitude is inversely proportional to the object's mass. It's inversely proportional to the volume of the object. He's talking about buoyancy here. The volume of the object and the density of the medium that it's displacing. So he kind of messed on that. Anyway, he talks, all right, I can't get into too much detail. It's just too much. You could read it on your own. I have a post on Facebook. It's in the description of this video if you want to go and comment on it, because Gregory has been responding to that particular post. So if anybody wants to interact with him, go ahead and see if he'll respond on the Facebook post in the description here. So let me scoot down here a little farther. He talks about the mouth, yeah, and I was thinking for a little bit if he was maybe getting confused between a 1,000-kilogram elephant and the, I don't know what he gave for the mass of a mouse, the small mass. He did talk at length that he thought that maybe they should have a different acceleration. But I think he did come back around to not saying that they should. It's the ratio of the force of mass is the same for the elephant and the mouse in situations involving free fall. Now, I'm not certain that he quite understands it well enough. Well, we'll see. Well, I don't know if we'll see. Maybe people could read what he wrote here and see, does he understand actually how it works? Because here's what it's a little bit non-intuitive, and people somewhere between middle school and high school tend to encounter this and get it, I think, corrected. Should two things of different masses fall at different rates? And it's because of this formula here. The acceleration is related to the mass. So when you increase the mass, right, the force is increased as well, because the mass is multiplied by the acceleration. So both things actually fall at the same rate, but the force on them is different. The acceleration is the same, but the force is different. The force is higher on the one with more mass, and it's lower on the one with less mass. But it results in identical acceleration. That's how we know that the downward acceleration is related to mass, because higher mass, higher force, same acceleration. And they miss it. And I think Gregory has at least a little bit of an entry into this. Most flat earthers don't even come close. So, all right, let's get back to this here. So the role of relative density in the atmospheric medium on falling bodies, clouds, oceans, and apples. All right, now he really gets clouds wrong here. You can tell he goes total flurf. He goes the imaginary ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So he's trying to make this a scientific answer here. And he has to include imaginary ball spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. A scientist doesn't phrase it like that. Even if you disagree, you don't say imaginary ball. You would say a sphere of rotation with a, 15 degrees per hour rotation, or rotating once a day or something like that. Going with the 1,000 miles an hour, it shows that he doesn't quite understand rotational velocity, but no flurf tends to understand that. Goes to free fall. At least he doesn't say that centrifugal force should make everything fly off, but he does. Clouds weighing millions of tons remain suspended in the air. He doesn't quite understand that it's displacing the air that also has a mass. So let's see. The Facebook link goes to your website with the challenge, but not to the Facebook feed. Oh, the Facebook link to your website. Hold on a second. let me look here. The link in the description has a Facebook link in it. Let me look where that goes. I'll do it in a different browser so it doesn't use my credentials. Just to make sure that it's, oh crud, yes, that is wrong. I will have to fix that. If you find my personal Facebook page, Michael Toon, it is, I think it's linked in my, I think at my personal Facebook page is linked in the, I'll double check. Yes, my profile. You can find my profile. It's right now. It's the top link on my profile. I will fix the link in the description shortly after this is live, or I'm done with this to have the correct link. So there's how you can find it. It's on my main one. So anyway, let me get a little farther here. The hidden variables of density and the atmospheric medium. He talks about F equals ma. Bobbing for Happel's density and buoyancy. I think you're getting familiar with the FLIRF terms here. Mass versus density of clouds and apples. The relative density of oceans do not require gravity to lay flat. None of this is addressing the challenge, of course, yet. He talks about the relative density or specific gravity, true, which gives you the direction of the vector. If you look at my shirt, there's a vector, dv. There's an arrow above the v. All that relative density gives you is the direction of the vector and a relative magnitude of the size. That's it. So anyway, and we're done. Now, at no point in here does he provide a formula or a predictive mechanism telling us how much, what the quantity of the downward acceleration would be anywhere. He definitely doesn't include a prediction that's based on the location on the Earth and the elevation on the Earth. Yeah, so Mandelbrot sat 13 pages and he never addresses your challenge one time. So let's go back to the chat here with him. Did you read the gravity challenge? Yes. Does my paper comply with the contest? Right. So I sent him the link because I don't know if he could not have read it. There's no way. So this is the challenge. More specifically, and so my challenge is listed on my website. The actual challenge is a zipped text file. And let me show you. This is important because one of the things about a legit challenge is that you cannot change it later. So right there is the link, Gravity Challenge 1.0. The uncompressed text file SHA-256 checksum is this. Now that particular checksum I included in my initial video challenge for this. So you can go back and get my initial video challenge. That particular SHA hash is on the screen or somewhere in that video. So you can know that that file there that's sitting on my server has not changed in the meantime. I cannot change it without somebody knowing because you can just go get that SHA hash and check. So this link is the actual challenge. The contents of that text file are reproduced here. Okay. That's how I did it. This is not the true challenge. The true challenge is the text file in the zip. So the challenge again is to provide a mechanism, which he didn't do. So anyway, so here it is. He says, yes, I read it. I gave him the SHA checksum, and then I quoted the acceptance parameters. Each ISGN 71 gravity station will have the globe mechanism predictions and alternate mechanism predictions. He is to provide the alternate mechanism predictions. The difference between the predicted values and the measured values will be summed for all gravity stations. For each mechanism, the mechanism with the smallest total error shall be declared the winning mechanism. Not that hard to find in there because it's laid out pretty clearly, and he didn't didn't include his five chosen ISGN stations and the actual mechanism. So he says, did my paper violate the requirements? I said, yeah, you didn't do it. You didn't. I don't see your submission. In my paper, come here, I strongly endorse Newtonian mechanics as the calculating strategy. And then he gives a constant. Yes, we know it's 9.8 meters per second squared. Your challenge is to predict that. Provide the mechanism that outputs 9.8 meters per second squared. Instead, he just typed the number. Not quite it, is it? So the paper is based on the Newtonian laws of motion. Awesome. So I ask real clearly, what is your mechanism for predicting the downward acceleration at different locations on the Earth? My paper states the Newton's laws of motion are used for predicting and determining motion. That's not the question I asked. See the notes section for the globe mechanism. So I told him, look at what I wrote. He didn't. Correct. He goes, Newton laws are exact formulas, correct. And I gave him the formula here, which is the one on my shirt right now. So I go, so where is the formula that outputs the prediction? Again, Newton's laws of motion. All physics still, but he doesn't understand. Poor guy. The poor guy. As I just clearly state the formula that predicts the downward acceleration. No additional equations to modern physics are necessary, he says. And he requotes the middle school, by 1 second, it's at 9.8, at 2 seconds, it's 19.6. That's it. So anyway, then I say you need to have 5 gravity stations. Again, it's in my paper, which he didn't. Nothing in physics has changed. Anyway, so I gave him, I'm being generous. I have already picked my 5 ISGN stations. Here's one of them. This is in Hawaii. There's the coordinates, elevation 1130 meters, downward acceleration, the measured downward acceleration, 9.7878818888 meters per second squared. And then I even gave the link where I found that. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. Anyway, so you can, if you look, let's see, can you see? No, you can't. This conversation went on for quite a while. And he never did do anything. Now, he talked about proof, and that followed very closely by where I sent the characteristics of pseudoscience, where number 8 is expecting proof, like you're a pseudoscientist. So I said, so just choose your ISGN 71 stations. I'll send my other 4. So then he goes, no empirical evidence exists to prove there's an attractive force emanating from the center of the Earth. Gravity as yet is completely unproven. I'm like, we'll get it back on track. Then we test your proposed replacement. He didn't have one. Anyway, so he goes, Newton's descriptive math is solid. I said, you bet it is. F equals G M1 M2 over R squared. I'm like, I'm agreeing with Newton. So are you. Newton's law of universal gravitation. Anyway, he doesn't like that. So in response to him claiming that gravity doesn't exist, I sent him several measurements of gravity. Right here, a bunch of them. Scroll, scroll, scroll. As well as some other, not just straight measurements of it, but other types of tests of gravity. He goes, again, these are descriptions, not gravity. Of course, he didn't read them. I said, these are empirical confirmation of mass attracting mass, to which he says, nope. That's right. He didn't read them. And in his arrogant ignorance, he said, nope. Well, Gregory, I'm sorry. You can't nope away empirical measurements. You did not look at them. They still stand there. I said, you can't nope without looking at them. So all you are given is descriptions. I'm sorry, it's not. It's an empirical measurement. You don't like it because you're a science denier. You know why I know you're a science denier? Because you meet all of the qualifications listed in this literal textbook on science denialism. Maybe it's not call it a textbook. It's a book by somebody. All right, hold on a second. Why is this? All right, get out of here. Look at that. It's trying to let me thumbs up. I have had some problems with, there we go, with the new client there in Facebook Messenger. It's a little heavyweight. So anyway, that is the essence of it. He did, I said, well, I'm going to put up the web page. Oh yeah, this is his attempt at, this is funny. This is his attempt to hand wave away, and this was in his paper, hand wave away the measurements of gravity, of mass attracting mass. Object density. Well, if you place things on a torsion balance, it negates the density of the object. The index of buoyancy of the object, again, because it moves horizontally, it doesn't change in the volume of the air doesn't change, so it negates the buoyancy. Dielectric forces, which not certain exactly what he means by that. It's a little difficult to get anybody to quantify dielectric forces. Then he says electromagnetic forces, which can be neutralized by having things at the same electrical potential. Or if you're talking specifically about magnetism, by using things that are not ferromagnetic and then demagnetizing them. Again, the measurements I sent him do that. Aerodynamic resistance, and there's not very much aerodynamic resistance when you're twisting a torsion bar a tiny bit. But in fact, aerodynamic resistance will tend to reduce that oscillation over time. Thermodynamic exchange, whatever that means, don't know. It's a little vague maybe, but is he suggesting that there's some sort of thermodynamic exchange between the two masses in a torsion bar experiment? I don't know what he's talking about, but he didn't, maybe if he would read the particular papers and then go and identify the problems that they had and say, well, they didn't take the thermodynamic exchange into account, it would be this between a ball of brass of this size and a ball of brass of this side, or stainless steel or whatever. Here's how it would work. Don't know. And the result of an object in a particular atmospheric medium. Again, the medium is negated because they're both in the same medium. But other things like he totally misses what a gravimeter does is it also negates these things because it does it in an evacuated chamber. So there's no buoyancy. It wants to let me thumbs up it again. Darn it. Why is it keeps doing that to me? Anyway, so anyway, he went into basically telling me that I don't understand, I'm not smart enough. I'm like, just paste the formula. He can't. He doesn't have it without using mass in any way. Right? I say paste the formula. He says F equals ma. I'm like, well, yeah, but you can't use mass in the formula. That's part of the challenge. The point is you're claiming that mass attracts mass doesn't happen. You can't use mass in the formula. Anyway, I invited him to come on. He didn't come on. He's the first to submit, so good on him for that. And I said, I'm going to do a web page, and I sent him the web page just to see what he thought right here. He said it's fine, and so he agreed that his paper does not meet the submission requirements. So he doesn't have a problem with that. And that's, again, very fair for him. He's like, hopefully you're able to find some people who conform to your epistemological apparatus for inquiry to confirm what you believe in. He tries to sound so fancy. See the links I provided because he didn't even look at them. So, but this is not my first debate regarding epistemological autocracy. Anyway, he goes on, and if you want, go find it on YouTube or on Facebook. It's kind of funny. So All right, let me see here. I got a couple super chats that came in. Green Bull says, I can't watch live tonight. Canada is playing Mexico in an important soccer game. Here's to a good show. Well, thank you, Cretan Bull. I hope that the proper team wins, whoever that is. Brady Photography is a new member. Thank you, Brady, for coming back. I hope things are turning up for you. If you're a new member, I suppose that might be might be a good thing. Aromatics, who made this. Thank you very much, Aromatics. He asked me if he could make a thumbnail. So the original thumbnail for this video was where I was going to debate Alex from Twitter. Aromatics made that thumbnail. So thank you very much for that. I hope to debate Alex in the future. I'll give him one more chance. And if not, then he kind of has a template. So you'll definitely see Aromatics thumbnails in the future. So I really appreciate that. Yeah, Mr. Unite for the Children and Kyle Adams. Yep. Mass Debater says, been watching far longer than 6 months. Smart man. Thanks. Yeah, he's been a member for 6 months. Probably. So Masturbator, thank you very much. Masturbator. Sean Hawkins for $5 says, freedom's just a word, but it's a word worth dying for. But if I'm going to die for a word, that word is going to be Poontang. Funny. That reminds me, Sean, I don't know if you sent it or not. Sean was going to send me something. I need to go check my post office box. I'm supposed to be getting a 5G protector device. That's totally not snake oil. Totally not snake oil. They've assured me it works really well. So I'm going to test it. I'm going to do what they say to test it when it shows up. So Keith Brolster. Brolter. I don't know. I'm sorry. I get it wrong. Says, here's $5 for the effort of typing, copying, and pasting this 12-page waste of time. Thank you for that. And Ira Gwynn has a £5 super chat, but no message. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. Is that a sticker? No, it's not a sticker. So that is my response. I'm glad he didn't try to fight that somehow I rejected his submission improperly. So Flurf, oh my gosh. Flurf Spiretard says, I found my way here through FTFE about a month ago, and I must say I really enjoy MC Toon's debates. Well, thank you very much. Craig and I have different styles, and I think they're complementary. At least I hope they are. So that Craig has his style, I have my style, and together we fill in across a good swath of the spectrum of debate style. So, if you are a fan of Schrodinger's cat, and if you watched the debate on Friday night on Modern Day Debate, this may come as no surprise to you. Schrodinger's cat already announced it. Schrodinger's cat is he does videos mostly right now on like First Amendment auditors and sovereign citizens, but he used to primarily do flat earth type stuff, and he's had a few flat earth debates. 2 of them I think are on my channel. He did some on the Non Sequitur show and on elsewhere. Good guy, very smart. He asked me after Friday, after that terrible moderating that happened on Modern Day Debate, how about starting a debate channel, the 2 of us? We start a debate channel. It's specifically for debates, and we put to pen how we will debate and the rules that we'll use to moderate the debate. So we're working on that. It's just in the beginning. We're actually going to meet tomorrow and have some discussions about it. So if you're interested in that, be looking out for that. See, if you've been around for a while, the Non Sequitur show was an interesting debate platform. It had its ups and downs, and there were a bunch of drama that happened, and it collapsed. Well, modern day debate was starting up as that was coming apart. And I thought, well, that's a good platform. It's gonna fill in the gap somewhat for what the non sequitur show left. But over time, I think it's not done that because the moderation is a bit hands off. So actually last Saturday, so I was very displeased with the moderation and the debate I was in, but I was more bothered by the debate the next day, because the debate the next day was between Conspiracy Cats and Howard George Stirrup, who I've had on here on my show. Howard, it was to be 3 minutes alternating, and each side would be muted while they were not to be talking, because Howard has a problem with over talking, and modern day debates has a problem with letting people over talk. So that was the format. Howard, and it was, is space exploration real? So Howard didn't actually address any of that. He took his video. He has this video he always shows. It's the same one all the time. And he clipped it into 3-minute segments. And I think he had 9 or 8 different 3-minute segments that he played. He in that video never addressed the specific topic of the debate. Well, I think a good moderator would say, I'm sorry, you agreed in good faith to come to this debate on this particular topic. If you're not going to debate on this particular topic, we've got a problem. James didn't do that. Later, it got worse. Howard made an accusation. I won't even use the word. I won't even say the word, but it was an accusation about what Richard Branson does with children. And Conspiracy Cats, when it was his turn to talk, said, I'm out of here. He did the right thing. James did not challenge Howard on that. I have a problem with that. Now, James doesn't, he tries to take a neutral stance, and I don't think that's a neutral stance. I think that's a little more than neutral. I think that's very much supporting his stance to not challenge something completely off topic and incredibly slanderous. Is it within YouTube's terms of service? Maybe. I don't know. So, yes, and Howard made many, many accusations. That was the first. Later, since Conspiracy Cats was gone, the good faith debater was gone, the bad faith debater was kept on. Backwards. That's backwards. For 45 minutes to an hour, something like that, while he went over questions. And more of the same accusations came out. So that's a problem. It's a big problem. So the debate channel that not Conspiracy Cats, that Schrodinger's cat and I are talking about, will have specific rules about that. And also we will encourage structured debates. So I think what we'll probably do is we might even list out like an options of different formats for people to use, like the Oxford debate format. So is Jason in here? Do I see somebody talking about Jason? Let me see if he's in here, because he is. Derp Squirrels. Have we decided on a name for the channel? We have not. Any ideas? Discuss it on the Discord server maybe, or send ideas. But yes, Cats did destroy Howard. I mean, Howard didn't respond to any of Katz's evidence, nothing at all, because he just had a scripted video, and he couldn't respond to Katz's claims because he just ignored it. So, Jason is one of the people that I said, if you want to come at 10 o'clock, which is just over an hour, you can. The other one, let me see. This guy here, somebody sent me a message on Facebook. Oh, Facebook Messenger is so bulky, just slow. I'm not the app, the independent app. There it is. All right, he can't do it. That guy can't do it today. Anyway, so Jason, if you're up for it, and I think Jason already responded on Well, we could do it in 10 minutes, Jason. What do you think? So, Jason and his Argonauts. So yeah, people have had different responses at different times to modern day debates. A lot of people a while ago were saying to boycott it. I wasn't in that group. But based on the more recent stuff, I think it's time for a different angle at hosting debates with these type of despicable people. I've not watched Modern Day Debates' other topics. You know, he has religion topics and some politics topics. Maybe they don't get into the same type of just incredible nonsense. Because the people are different. I don't know. My debate education was from Justin Brierley's unbelievable podcast. It is he has different religious topics, a whole bunch. And those were how I was really introduced, because I listened to lots of debates on there, and they were respectable people. They stayed on topic, and they had a conversation. So when these flat earthers like Alex Stein can't stop talking for a minute to let the other side, do something, and they can't stick to one topic, it's crazy out there. So it's deer season, says Foam Duckery. Well, there you go. It's deer season. Paul says, my debate skills suck because I have no rebuttal for nope. Oh, so anyway, so will I ever go back on Modern Day Debate? I am uncomfortable saying definitively that I won't. But I don't think that it's quite the right platform for the types of people that flat earthers are. So anyway, Schrodinger's cat and I, be looking out for that. So Jason, are you here, Jason? What do you think, Jason? He didn't like the video of Tony Naum. He thought something was wrong in that somehow I was getting it wrong. And I'm like, well then come on, let's give a chance. You can explain about it. So there you go. I'll say this. Let's see. I'll say this one more thing about Modern Day Debates. I'll read this comment from Gareth Bunting. It says that James cares about the super chats, not any sort of debate, never going to have a proper platform that way. I don't agree that it's just about the super chats. I can see that some people might feel that. And looking at, when I was on, or more, James wasn't there when I was on, so I can't speak to James. But when Conspiracy Cats left, after Howard made that accusation, and when Aaron Ra left, when Nathan Thompson failed on his part, Nathan Thompson was to bring a flat earth model. He did not. So Aaron Ra said, that was the agreement, I'm out. When there's a backlog of super chats, what do you do? I don't have the answer necessarily. It's something that I think Schrodinger's cat and I will need to put together, because it's pretty quickly easy to find out who's the good faith debater and who's the bad faith debater. In 3 instances, the good faith debaters left, the bad faith debaters stayed, and there's a backlog of super chats. If there was a way to swap so that you get the bad guy out and the good guy in, maybe that's how you can do it. But don't know. I don't have an answer. I can't say what I think James should have done, but I do agree that there is a social contract to read those super chats, and James should definitely do something about that. If there's this backlog of a bunch of them, you do something with it. What it is, I'm not saying, but yeah, you have to do it. Jason, send, if you're here, if you're actually here, send me a message. But I don't think he's going to. Rubik's Cube Earth says, will Mallory be a mod on the debate show? It should be her and McFlatty. That's the only way to stay neutral. Funny. Probably not. I think because we do want it to be a serious platform. We'll probably have a little more stringent requirements for moderators. So a decent, serious person should have some integrity and self-respect, says Professor Phil Bell. Absolutely. Oh, Jason is here. All right, Jason. 5 minutes from now, would you want to come on? You can make your case for why you think I was wrong in the rotation somehow. So, Micah, what did I see any of the screenshots from the Discord? Was it recent or was it? Sorry, I'll read the whole thing. Did you see any screenshots I put on the Discord from modern day debate comments about moderation? Asks Michael Watch. I did not see them. So, why does James constantly go on about almost out of time on modern day debate? Is there a time limit? There is a set schedule. So let's see. And Lubo in China says, actually, flat earthers are more and more painful to watch. We would like some brain regrowing debates about recent science announcements, talking and inviting scientists and having more fun. Absolutely. And a maybe that platform can is the venue for that. Obviously it needs to get to a certain size to get the attention of the appropriate people. A serious scientist has, journalistic questions all the time and opportunities all the time to be on different platforms. So a small platform on YouTube isn't enough. You need a big platform on YouTube. So it would need to be a serious size platform. So anyway, Fly Ab USA. I'm not going to read that. It's funny. I'm not going to read that though. Naughty. So anyway, Jason, same time tomorrow. No problem. 10 p.m. tomorrow. I could probably do 10 p.m. Central Time tomorrow. So, all right. Well, send me a message on Facebook or not on Instagram. I'm so rarely on Instagram. I'm only went on today because somebody said that Jason posted something about me 4 days ago. So BV asks, did the Flurf not show up? The Flurf did not. Alex from Twitter did not show up. Oh, Jason wants to be unblocked from Discord. Okay. Are any of my Discord mods on right now? If you are, you can, geez, I'm not going to do it right now. So yes, if could somebody, a mod on my Discord server, unblock Jason, take him out. If he's in the naughty room, take him out of the naughty room. So, Free Rebel 626 says, do you still cover religious issues? I never have covered religious issues. I've not debated it myself. Here's why. For me, we joke about flat earthers and Dunning-Kruger pretty often, right? That they are on one side of, let me see over here. You've got the Dunning-Kruger scale here. They think that they're up here. But they're not, right? That's their confidence is up high, but their actual skill level is low. So I'm not going to debate things that I'm not at least at some level of skill in, right? So like I said, you've heard it before. I cheat. I make the other side take the factually incorrect position. The Earth is not flat. They lost before it started. 5G doesn't harm you. They lost before it started. Topics that have no clear, definite answer, I can't cheat the same way. That's the other thing. So, Lubo in China, you can start with the small scientists like PhD Tony, and then the bigger ones like Professor Phil Bell will come too. That's a good point. Oh my goodness, that's funny. So yeah, there's not a lot of mods on my Discord server. I can't go in right now and edit it. So anyway, I don't know. That's what I have for tonight. I didn't. I had some. I could have. I always have to have something in the back pocket in case somebody doesn't show. But so I decided to do this on the gravity submission. So thank you, Gregory, for the gravity submission. It didn't meet the requirements, and you're completely wrong about gravity. Completely and totally wrong. And oh, you know what? I need to get back to this. Because Gregory said something interesting in our earliest interactions. So here's what happened. I found his book on Amazon, and I put in a review for his book. It was a flat earth book. He was very upset about it. He didn't like that I put in a 1-star review for his book. And so he found me on Facebook and called me out on it. Good on him. And he made some claims in this interaction that are a little funny. So my goodness, like I said, it's super slow on Facebook Messenger. Super slow. Like it won't switch to different chats very quickly. So anyway, I will get that. Anyway, so the point is, he claimed that he's not a flat earther and that he thinks that the Earth is a sphere in our conversation. But if you look at his Facebook page, he's a flat earther. I mean, I didn't look at his Facebook page when he initially challenged me on that. Maybe I should have. Definitely I should have. Because maybe I would have found out that he was a flat earther at the time, but he definitely is a flat earther. He says that he's talked on TV shows and stuff about it. Or radio interviews, I think he said. So, hey, come on. I'll restart the app. It is just poorly written, people. Facebook, you guys are terrible. You're really screwing the pooch. Their AI being allowed to edit everything or moderate everything is terrible. It's terrible. It's like nobody's home. So all right, I got it working. I will I'll go all the way to the beginning of our conversation. It was a couple years ago, actually. And until today, I'd totally forgotten about the conversation. So, all right. This is when was this? Oh, where's the date? I don't know. There's no date on it. So there it is. Gregory Garrett. Mr. Toon, is it really necessary for you to destroy my efforts to sell my book on Amazon by leaving a 1-star rating right off the bat? What did I ever do to deserve such retaliation and attack? Did I cross you in some way? If I did, I apologize. But do you have kids or struggle in this world to study, pay bills, and survive? Why am I the target for your attacks? Please explain if you would, sir. Anyway. So here's my review. The earth isn't flat. Anyone telling you the earth is flat is lying to you. He didn't like that review. So I'm like, well, if you're lying, I can't support you. Stop lying and redeem yourself. There it is, 2019. That was 2 years ago, over 2 years ago. I do have kids. I said, yeah. Do you feel you have the right to target someone you don't know to make him fail? That's who you are. I wish you the best. I said, I'm not targeting you. I'm protecting people from being lied to. Stop lying. My book is largely about exposing the Catholic Church and corruption, but you read my book, so you should know that. I didn't read his book. It's about flat earth, though. Anyway, so I'm like, well, sounds like the name of the book is misleading. Did he give the name of the book? Well, it's linked there. The Flat Earth Trilogy Book of Secrets 2 is the name of the book. So I don't know. You tell me. Does that sound like a book promoting flat earth? Well, it is. So yes, he talks about this, which I won't say. It says it does not say I think the earth is flat. So I go, do you think the earth is flat? The answer is no. I ask again, do you think the earth is a sphere? He said, yeah. Yes, it is a sphere. So you know what I did? I took down my review. So flat earth is just one conspiracy. I actually care more about censoring each other. It's fascism. That's what I hate. Fascism. I said, I'm not for censoring. I'm trying to make my book fail on Amazon. That's censoring. I go, that's not censoring. Censoring would be Amazon saying you can't have it, which would be perfectly legal. The illegal censoring would be for the government to say that you can't do it. That would be the illegal type of censoring, but he doesn't get it. Anyway, there's that. So his, let's see, I'm going to give you, hold on. Have you ever been so far as to ever want to go pretend to even go do more like? Have you ever been so far as to ever want to go pretend to even go do more like? I'm sorry, I can't parse that sentence. So he's a liar. Lying is a noble profession. Why do you have to denigrate professional liars? So I can, here's what I'll do. I will pull up his Facebook page. How about that? How about we pull it up and look to see if his Facebook page 2 years later, maybe he had a drastic change in the last 2 years. Gregory Garrett. Maybe he's had a change in the last 2 years. From his initial ideas that the earth was not flat 2 years ago to thinking that it is flat now. Oh, he blocked me. He's against censorship. Good job, Gregory, who's against censorship. You blocked me. Oh, Gregory's here. Hey, Gregory, you blocked me. I thought you hated censorship. I invited you to come in here, Gregory, and these are not ad hominem attacks. So you know, an ad hominem attack would be Gregory is wrong because he smells bad. That's an ad hominem attack. I never said anything of the sort that you're wrong because of something else, right? Maybe try to understand what that is. But Gregory, you're welcome to come on. And but it was definitely funny that you pretend that you're against censorship and you blocked me. Oh, the sweet, sweet irony, Gregory. Oh, all right. Let me see if a incognito session can see his page. Oh, there it is. Oh, dear me. You can't block that without tightening down your entire your entire channel there. So anyway, there is, look at that. Look up at the upper right there. Open link in new, open image in new tab. Here we go. And look at that. It is he that sits upon the circle of the earth. Gregory, you think the earth is flat. It's right there. Maybe that wasn't up 2 years ago, but it's up right now. You don't think that the earth is a sphere, Gregory. Why would you say that? I don't know. Could be that something happened in the last 2 years. Maybe could you answer that since you're in the live chat right now? Did you think 2 years ago that the earth was flat and you were just lying to me at the time? I suppose people could look back at your profile, unless you've completely locked it down here in the meantime, to see when you first started posting Flat Earth Derp on your page there. But let's see a little bit about Gregory here. He talks about Sheol and some text Sheol, blah, blah, blah. Gregory L. Garrick lives in California in the USA, has a BS in music. Yay! And a BA in psychology from UCLA and UCSC, a master's in education. Studied physics and philosophy at UCLA. You studied physics and philosophy, but no degree. How much did you study? Did you take a class? I don't know. And advanced astrophysics at UCSC under Frank Drake. I don't know who Frank Drake is. Maybe people can look. But I don't know. Was it a class? I don't know. Advanced astrophysics. And you're a flurf? That's cute. And is a musical theater composer, songwriter, author, martial artist, classical symphonic rock keyboardist, and performer, and is currently working on additional books about transhumanism, nanosynthetic biology, conscious uploading, artificial general intelligence, and the elite agenda for the apotheosis. So, you have a degree in teaching and music and psychology. So, whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-doo. The Drake equation? I don't know. Under Frank Drake. Does Frank Drake agree with this here, Gregory? Because it doesn't matter who you studied under. If citing that person that you studied under, if you completely disagree with them, isn't all that impressive. So Delcos Man says, no shade to your idea, Toon, but is a structured flat earth debate a good thing? It legitimizes Flatty, and I'm watching for a dumpster fire and entertainment. You make a good point. Yep. Yes. PJCnet parrots awake souls. Yes, he does. So anyway, Greg, let's see. So again, why are you exhibiting all my private DM to you publicly? Why not, Gregory? I did not include your email address or any private information. So I don't know. Was there anything in there that was particularly damning or exposing? I didn't think so. That's why I felt it was fine. So, but you go ahead and have yourself a little cry if you think that was really so bad. Okay, Gregory. Your paper is interesting, and I appreciate your submission, but Greg, you got nothing. You talk about causality, yet you never provided causality for your claim of downward motion. You never provided a mechanism for it, a plausible mechanism causing the downward acceleration. You went on about causality and never once provided it for your own side. You didn't look at the causality for gravity. You hand waved it with a nope. And then you just said, oh, I don't need to for myself. I'm just going to use Newton's equations. You just have to accept them, which I do. but they aren't causal. and nowhere in Newton's equations, other than the gravity one that you want to hand wave away, does it provide a prediction for the downward acceleration. So anyway, let's see, PJCnet, let's see, that which I showed, it's still the AE map, which simply can't work. The other book sounds interesting. So yeah, I mean, it's a good point. This is the map, which is just the AE map right here. It's the same garbage map that cannot work. I don't know if you can read it, but it says 32 miles in diameter for the sun and moon, and it looks like 3,300 miles up. Well, if the sun and moon were 3,300 miles up, you would see them all the time. You would never not see them. How do I know that? Let me show you. Because unlike you, Gregory, I can do 8th grade math. So right here, the sun minimum angular elevation. So let me jump to Minneapolis, where I live. 45 degrees north. On the summer solstice, the sun travels over the Tropic of Cancer. Here's the picture. Right, so here's Minneapolis on the left side, and then the Tropic of Cancer, you see right there, it cuts through Mexico. So on the day of the solstice at noon, that little short gap between Minneapolis and the Tropic of Cancer on the left side is the distance from Minneapolis on flat Earth, Minneapolis, to where the sun is. You can measure the angle. Doesn't match, but let's just accept your 3,300 or about 3,000. Let's see, what did I do? I think in this one I took just 3,000 miles. So if you're saying it's higher, it doesn't work in your favor. But let's just use 3,000 for a second here, Gregory. Yeah, I mean, for all your bluster, you can't do simple math. So silly. So yeah, it's over in the Gulf of Mexico, 1,486 miles away at local solar noon. At local solar midnight, the sun is directly over Myanmar, 7,676 miles away. And I'll show it. If you look at that line from Minneapolis to the right side, Myanmar, that's where the sun is at night, directly across the North Pole. And they're in Myanmar, right? 7,673 miles away. Plugging that into a triangle calculator, in the middle of the night over flat Earth, if the sun is 3,000 miles high, it should be no lower than 21.35 degrees above the horizon, above eye level. If it's 3,300 miles in elevation, it would be more. But in the middle of the night, it's set. Gregory, this is math covered in 8th grade. 8th grade math. 8th grade math. Here's the extreme case: Puerto Williams on the southern solstice, right, in December. Here's the map. Here we have. I chose Puerto Williams because it's one of the southernmost tips of any part other than Antarctica. All the way there, all the way across. The sun is over Western Australia at local solar midnight for Puerto Williams, Chile. We can do the math. It's 7,861 miles away, the lowest it should be. It should appear no lower than 9.53 degrees above true level, above eye level. And if it's 3,300 miles, it would be higher. That's the most extreme case. It's the most beneficial case for flat Earth, and it fails, Gregory. Fails, completely fails. So, Gregory, this map doesn't work. Not even close. The sun would never set. You're not smart. You're not woke, Gregory. Not at all. It's not an ad hom. Gregory, you're not that smart. You couldn't figure this out. And right now in your head, you're like, it's perspective. It's perspective. I calculated perspective, Gregory. 8th graders calculate perspective. You got nothing. Nothing at all, Gregory. You're not woke. You're not woke. You're not. You didn't discover some hidden secret. You didn't expose the elite's lies. You got fooled by charlatans. So that's the Nazi black sun map. Okay. But do you think the Earth is flat, Gregory? Be clear. Do you still think the Earth is flat? I don't know. That's not a flat Earth map? Whoa. Where is the flat Earth map, Gregory? Where is it? I should add the sun's angular size to that analysis. That shows even more interesting numbers. It does. It certainly does. The angular size of the sun doesn't work for flat Earth. But Gregory, go ahead. Where is the actual flat Earth map? So, ooh, Black Bum Big Dragon says, look at his post from last June. He does. He does think it's flat. Yeah. Anyway, maybe you don't think this is the I don't know why you included it on your page. This is on your Facebook wall, right? You don't say in here. Let me just double check. Sheol, blah blah blah. Hebrew Second Temple. Sheol, blah blah. Last Judgment. Some text. Sheol, Talmud, New Testament, Hades, and Sheol is the realm of the black sun. Okay, so on your page here, you don't say that this isn't right. I mean, this seems to me as what you think. I don't know. It's a little unclear. Maybe you want to think, if this isn't what you think it is, maybe you should put a picture of what you think it is. I don't know. But yeah, that is, Sean Hawkins, that definitely is the flat Earth map that they sold at the Flat Earth Global Convention that I went to in November 2019. I don't know. So yeah, let's see. Is he still? Yep. He still has the anti-censoring Gregory still has me blocked. The sweet, sweet irony, Gregory. It's a book about the occult. All right. Do you have what is the flat Earth map that you think is the correct flat Earth map? So anyway, just send it. Instead of waffling around and avoiding the answer, what map do you think is the correct flat Earth map? Did you have to pay for the real flat Earth map? Oh no, don't have them unblock me. I love it when they bathe in hypocrisy. I love it. You all saw when he complained about censorship. And then he blocks me. Oh, I love it. I love the irony. Gregory, I invited you on. I don't know. Who would not block you after your attack piece called a YouTube program? Oh, maybe you do need a cry in the corner. You do. I mean, just get your favorite blankie. Just sit in the corner for a while and just, hug it real close and rock a little bit about, I don't know. So again, I'll just ask again. I'll just ask again. What map do you think's the right map, Gregory? I mean, you could send me a DM on Facebook. Oh, oops, you can't because you blocked me. Oh, you have my email address. Send it to my email address. I'll put it on the screen and we can analyze it quick to see if it's accurate. See if anything works. Comrade Jacob, he's being censored by MC Toon by exposing him. When am I sending my own brand of mason jars? I got these at Menards. These are just 32-ounce ball. They're not even mason brand. Yeah, Gregory spelled censoring Sensoring. Maybe he's using speech to text. Oh my gosh. Please, nobody block him. If you block him, if you time him out, it will erase that from the YouTube chat, and we won't be able to watch it in real time in later when you watch the video. So definitely don't block Gregory. So he has a master's in education. Oh, that I know, that's funny. So anyway, hey, you can come on right now and defend your goofiness, Greg. Here's what I did. It's not an attack piece. I analyzed your submission. It was terrible. It's just terrible. You talked about causality and how gravity must have causality without actually understanding that laws don't have causality. You totally missed that. But you're like, it must have causality. And then your answer to downward acceleration doesn't include causality, doesn't even include a prediction. It's nothing. It's less than nothing. It's negative nothing. It's the square root of -1. That's your answer. Oh my gosh. This is all right. Emblem of vigilance. MC2. And I hate people who themselves hate other people because other people hate them. The only TuneArt proofs MC Toon has are in his Toonshine. Absolutely. Ooh, Delcos man. All right. You cannot read this out loud if it's something that you don't want to address, but is there any truth to Nathan getting paid to be on Modern Day Debate? I don't have any inside information about Nathan getting paid to be on Modern Day Debate, so I can't answer that. I'm still waiting for Gregory to provide the map. So somehow he thinks that I shouldn't be showing that map because it's not his map, it's some other map. But what is your map, Gregory? What is your flat Earth map? You specifically start out your paper by calling out heliocentrists. It's the first word of your paper right here. Heliocentrists claim gravity as a force. That tends to put you on the side of not being a heliocentrist, Gregory. It seems you think the Earth is flat. So, Alyssum, yes, the secret ingredient of Toonshine is, in fact, dihydrogen monoxide. Why would a cult book need a map? I don't know. I don't see any email from Gregory saying, let me on, I want to defend myself. So, I don't know. Got nothing. I mean, that's what my other idea for the night, if I hadn't gotten this submission, my backup was Flat Earth's greatest hits. Which would be their best attempts at stuff. Their best attempts. So for the most part, Flat Earthers' best attempts are encapsulated in memes, which is sad for them as it is. Why did Nathan Thompson and Davey want to punch down last time they were on Modern Day Debate? I don't know why they wanted to punch down. Yeah, when they debated Snake and Word of the Wild. What do you mean they wanted to punch down? Gavin Green, what's my Discord? My Discord link is in the description. David says, new addition to the Flurf litmus test. Is negative nothing a positive or negative number? That's funny. How is turtle? That's a good backup. Oh, so I could just have turtle on for a while. Turtle's the cat, our new cat. Turtle's fine. Turtle and raccoon. Yes. Cat named Turtle, cat named Raccoon are getting along better. So, greatest hits. I'm not going to do it all because I want to save it for a backup show, right? But let's see, what was I going to do? So their maps. Right, you go on Facebook and they still post the UN logo and they're like, proof hidden in plain sight. But that map doesn't work. No flat earther that's been around for a while points to that map and says that's the right map. Except for, like Eric Dubay, because he's like entry level Flurf. But once they get in and they start testing things, they find out that exactly 0 of the things that are in Eric Dubay's 200 proofs actually work. So the Flurfs that have been in for like 2 years, they don't think any of the 200 proofs are actually anything, right? Because when you test them, none of them work. The horizon never rises to eye level. The maps that he talks about don't work. The lighthouse stuff that he talks about doesn't work. The see too far things doesn't work. All of the stuff in his 200 proofs doesn't work. So if the path that got you into flat Earth, if that whole path is junk, why are you still in flat Earth? Because it's a religion. That's why. The Earth is a D20, a 20-sided die. Prove me wrong. It would need a few more flat areas. So anyway, Gregory's gone all quiet. Maybe he censored himself. SENSORED. Oh. I love this. Professor Philbell, Gregory, please take some advice from an old fellow who has considerable experience with this stuff. Just quietly, Earth is not flat. Mark Beiser, you mean the 12 proofs repeated several times with different wording? Yes. Yes. Yeah, for the longtime Flurfs, it is about the money. So, this was a funny one. The what's his name? Corey Kell, that was on, he was at the Flatober Fest. And then he was on Globebusters. He has his really crappy theodolite that he made out of a angleometer. I have one right here. A digital protractor. Right, so he has a digital protractor, longer than this one, but he put it on a piece of cardboard and then on a tripod, 1.5 feet up from the ground, and then he sights along this line here to get the angle to the sun, which is fine. The protractor he has a margin of error of plus or minus half a degree. I don't know what you might get for the margin of error trying to sight the sun along this line here. Since there's no reticule, it's going to be a little challenging. For some weird reason, he always talks about sighting the center mass of the sun, which of course there's no, you don't know where the mass of the sun is when you look at something. Mass isn't an optical thing. Maybe the geometric center of the sun. I don't know, but when people use angle measuring devices to measure the sun, they use the top or the bottom of it because it's more of a crisp edge than trying to estimate the center. So the sun is about half a degree wide, and if you put it in the center, you're slop because you don't have any lines in there. So you're adding another, I don't know, quarter of a degree of slop. If you went to the edge, you wouldn't add so much anyway. But that would require him to acknowledge that the angular size of the sun doesn't change, which he definitely can't do, because if the Earth is flat, the angular size of the sun must change because it's close and local. So when it's near you, as I showed on my let me get it here, right here, from Minneapolis to the Tropic of Cancer on the left, that's not very far, right? But from Puerto Williams to, wherever the sun might set or whatever, it's very far, yet everybody sees the same angular size of the sun. Why is that? That's weird. Doesn't work, does it? Oh, poor Flurfs. Is Brandon Fail is kicking around again? Oh, yeah. Brandon, you can go to hell. You don't understand the VAERS report at all. You should actually read the documentation for what it says its purpose is. So gullible they are. Layalf, yes, I got it. The Earth is a four-dimensional dodecahedron, and we live in the third-dimensional sides. This is now a D&D debate. No. Look, I can be a nerd. Not that much. Come on, not now, people. How can you listen to flat earthers without falling asleep? I take it in sections and I play them at faster speed. Where should I start? All right, Daniel Langley. Where should I start building an understanding of physics as it would be applied in mechanical engineering? Well, university is a great place if you're not interested in going to university. I mean, if you want to be a mechanical engineer, you really need to should have a formal education. But if you just want to gain the understanding, then yeah, you could get some books. Walter Lewin on YouTube is an MIT professor, former MIT professor. He has a lot of very good lectures. He has over 1.3 million subscribers. He's no longer lecturing. He got into a little bit of trouble with some ladies, some of his female students. So he's not lecturing. I think he's old enough he would have retired anyway. So, but he still has some really good lectures. I just last night I was listening to him talking about the force applied to a mirror if you shine a light on it. It's pretty cool. So that would be a good place to go. But there's a lot of good information online, better than random videos. There's lots of lecture videos, and so if you see it's a lecture and it's at some sort of a university setting, because I don't know why I love it though. There's a lot of university lectures that have been put on YouTube. So that would be if you learn by video, by watching and listening, that's a good place. If you learn by reading, then books, but I don't have any specific recommendations. But if you want to be a qualified mechanical engineer, you got to go to school. Mr. Monster says, what would we have to do to our technology to make another moon landing possible? I feel like it's within our power to accomplish this again or more. Well, they're working on it. Until recently, the plan was to land in 2 years. And I knew that wouldn't happen. NASA is a government agency. They're not super fast at stuff. They did things quickly in the 60s because one of the things they did not have was strict standards on human safety in spaceflight. That has completely changed through a couple tragedies that happened, but they've quantified the rules for acceptance policies, acceptance testing for human spaceflight. And SpaceX has qualified that, but it took a little bit of a different thing, because SpaceX was about rapid changes, but once to get certified for spaceflight, you have to stop making changes. So it's a bit of a challenge for them, because then they can't do these rapid changes. It's basically It's like software, the newest trends in software development. So I don't want to say rational unified process. That's rough. That's a bit old. So anyway, they're working on it. NASA's in charge of it. It's not moving very quickly. SpaceX is working on it. They might beat NASA to the moon with their own stuff. I don't know. We'll see. These next couple of years are going to be very interesting in that realm. Mandelbrot set is asking PJCnet, was the debate where Jason was on my channel, was that the only time that Jason has stepped outside of his echo chamber? It's a good question. Marty Moose, have you seen the spin launch? Do you think it's going to be commercially viable launch method? The spin launch, oh my gosh. They take there's an arm inside of this, about 100-meter long. I think their test one is smaller, but they're going to spin it around and get it going really fast over about a course of an hour and a half, and then release it and up at an angle to get it into orbit. And then once it's up high enough, then basically the second stage rocket will kick in. Spinning something that fast clearly won't work for people. It's like 10,000 Gs, but I suppose it'll work for the limited things that can handle that type of a, centrifugal acceleration. So yeah, PJCnet, that's a good question to you. Has Jason ever stepped out of his echo chamber? No, they were on this non sequitur show. Jason and Ronnie both were on there with their derpy map. So I can bring up the map quick. I have it. It's as silly as can be. They're like, nobody's ever debunked our map. Well, your map is too ridiculous to even consider. But I have a collection of maps. Let's see. It's Awake Souls. What's the other guys? Limitless. So let's see. Lael says, although Khan Academy is not accredited, it's a good learning site. However, because it's not accredited, you cannot receive a diploma or certificate. You're right. But yeah, there's a lot of great things on Khan Academy. So here is the map by Jason and Ronnie, Awake Souls and Limitless. A incredibly ridiculous map. It fixes a couple things. It fixes Australia being extremely skewed, but it makes look at Alaska and Russia. They're terribly ripped apart. They're so ridiculously big. So you've got the North Pole at the top, and then you've got the South Pole on the left and right side. But don't worry, they say it's a Pac-Man world, so that there's only one South Pole. It's just you see it twice because of Pac-Manning. Oh. What happens when you go north off the map? You don't Pac-Man around to the south. Don't know. They don't answer that question. But having the equator being non-straight ends the discussion right away. And here's how you know. Because when you're standing on the equator on the day of the equinox and you look due east when the sun rises, the sun is due east. It's not north, it's not south, it's due east when you're on the equator. So it's above a certain part of the earth due east of you, and it must be a straight line due east. Now at the same time, the sun is setting for somebody else due west, and it's also straight for them. So you need to straighten out those two lines. But for the people where it's partially up, it's due east if it's in the morning, and it's due west if it's in the afternoon. It's got to be straight for all of them. The thing is, the equator has to be straight east-west. There's no other way to do it. The equator cannot curve. unless you think somehow it dynamically changes throughout the day or throughout the year, like the Earth's shape undulates. But I mean, if you really want to propose that, you're crazy. So James Horton, that map is pretty accurate to me. No, it's not. Anyway, distances don't work on this. Nothing really works on this. Like I said, the equator doesn't work. Sunrise and sunset angles don't work. None of them work. You could not do any navigation from this because the distances won't work. If a flat map of a flat Earth has the same scale in all directions. Yeah. So yeah, Alyssum, if you try to plot flight routes, a flat map of a flat Earth, you do flight routes with a straight edge. That's it. You don't need to account for any curvature. So you just lay this straight edge on it between the 2 points and you draw a line. Well, that doesn't work with this map either. So yeah, it's pretty silly. I don't know why they would say that. Like they think that these two people, Jason and Ronnie, they're crazy. They're like, anybody that uses the AE map are Satanists. They're just attacking other flat earthers because they use the AE map because they say it's wrong. This map is wrong too, guys. It's just as stupid as the AE map, and you're not doing any better. No, Ronnie and Jason did not make that map. They got it from somewhere else. Why did they think this was when I debated Jason, he said it was because it was somebody said that it was he had a quote from somebody who said it's the most accurate map. And I don't know why that meant anything. Let's see, Mandelbrot said, Jason said in the debate that their map only works for navigation if you deproject it back onto a globe. Well, duh. Yes, the AE map works if you deproject it back onto a globe. If you have a single Mercator map of the entire world, works if you project it back onto a globe. A single Lambert conformal conic map works if you deproject it back onto a globe. Whoop-de-doo. Alyssa, yeah, if you want, I can send you the map. You can look at it. I'll put it in the Discord server later. No, that's not Antonio Subaratz's map. I have his. Here it is right here. There's Antonio Subaratz's map. You know what's funny about Antonio Subaratz's map? It's just the AE map with stuff moved around a little bit. I think I have a do I have the one of AE map with Antonio Subaratz overlay. Oh, hold on, that's a Photoshop file. I'll have to open it. And Daniel Langley, I infiltrated a Flat Earth Facebook group a couple years ago and found that for every real believer, there's 5 guys like me trying to not get noticed for the laughs. That's exactly right. Okay, this is so Antonio Subaratz is a rather despicable flat earther who, yeah, I won't get any more into that. He's just rather despicable. So he wrote a book he called, I think, The Book of the Sun, and he included in it his own derpy map. And here is his silly map overlaid on the AE map. So how incredibly different is his map from the AE map? Well, it's not. Look, you can see he twisted around South America. I don't know why. It's certainly not based on latitude, longitude, or on any measurements. He just moved things around to fit his own ideas. He moved Australia farther north than it should be, and a little bit to the side. Same for New Zealand. He didn't do much to Africa. He made it a little less skewed. It looks like Europe and Asia are mostly the same. That's all he did. So yeah, good job there, Super Rats. You really nailed it there by coming up with a unique map that's totally accurate. The Sun Express says Ronnie and James' map hasn't a hope in heck of being a functional. GPS coordinates are completely out of whack, undulating latitude and longitude. But wait, there's Titicaca. Is Lake Titicaca on there? I suppose that might be that little dark thing. I don't know. Do you want to see? All right, hold on. Somebody was saying, my favorite. I think this is my favorite. Let's see. All right. Well, let's first look at Dearth. Dearth has this, which doesn't work. It's just the AE map. My favorite is from Daz Nez. This is Daz Nez's map. What is that, you might ask? Well, he put it on 7 pillars because he had to go interpret the Bible as literal pillars. Antarctica is incredibly huge, and the North Arctic region is also incredibly huge. This isn't a map of his creation. I think it's just a projection. Again, and of course, it's got Pac-Man, because you know what good map doesn't have Pac-Man? Lael, isn't Jason the Flurf that I posted an audio clip of him asking you if you wanted to get his crayons? No, that's the Jason that was in here earlier. Different Jason. Yeah. So anyway, there's that one. That's but it's funny when people are like, well, Eratosthenes thought the Earth was flat. There's his map. Well, he didn't claim that was to scale or all of it. So let's see. Oh yeah, these the flurps. You know, they come up with this one. They're like, proof. Here's proof. This isn't proof. This is just a dumb idea. What causes the sun and moon to move up and down? They never know. They have no answers to anything ever. Who did I have last? Was it 2 weeks ago? No, it was it. Anyway, said that it's the map that the Air Force uses. I mean, oh, do you mean the U.S. Air Force map of the world? No, not that one. Well, then I put this up, and he's like, yeah, that's the one. that's the U.S. Air Force map of the world. But I'm like, well, do you think this is right? Is there an edge of the world on these spots? These people, they never get anything right. Here's a similar one. I think this is the actual one that he was thinking about. The air map of the world there on the bottom right, it says. But look at it, it's got a scale. You can see at the bottom there, 50 degrees south, the lines of longitude get skewed. Oops, it's a globe. That was the Cation guy, was it? Yeah, okay, that sounds right. And it was Josh Hamer who used the AE map, except it had Australia not skewed, which means that the latitude longitude are wrong. It doesn't work. You try to fix one obvious problem and you introduce 10 more. Alyssum says, best part about trolling Facebook flat earther sites is when I hear a comment I've made pretending to be a flatty brought back to me here on YouTube. Gullible fools. They are. it's a shame that none of them use the flower map with Jerusalem in the center. Whoa, round thinker coming up with that. I haven't seen that one. Maybe I have. It's not coming to mind though. This southern hemisphere location can never work on a flat Earth. 15.9. I can't bring that up right now. What are you doing to me? 15.9 degrees south, 69.3 degrees west. Don't know. What was this? Timothy P. Southwick had a bunch of emojis. What's that about? So, all right. Somebody said look in memes on my Discord server. Oh, that's comments from James. That's not it. And maybe it's in the general. I'll look at that. No. Who said something? Who said? I don't know. Anyway, so let's see. The Sun Express says we have at least 10 years of sunsets and sunrises recorded on Mars. How does a FLIRF reconcile this fact? Well, of course, they claim it's all fake with no evidence that it's fake. That's how they do it. All right. Oh, that? I've not seen that before. Round thinker. That is... All right. Let's go with that. Hold on. I'm going to... That is funny. You're right. I'm surprised that no flat earther has come up with that particular one. All right. Let me drop this in here so people can see. There you go. The real map of the world. There it is. You got Jerusalem in the middle, Europe on the side, Asia on the side, and Africa on the side. It even includes America in the bottom left. I didn't know America was in the southern hemisphere, but that's something. Oh, England gets its lucky. Its own little thing directly north of Europe. Apparently, sucks to be you, Norway and Sweden and Finland. You're gone. England has replaced you. Oh. Daniel Langley. Flat Earth seems to be an incredibly low-hanging fruit and a waste of your ability to explain things that are hard to understand. I'm jealous of these derps. Thanks. I'm happy to expand out to other things, but I tell you, it's a target-rich environment. I know though that flat Earth that its time is limited. We have 3 companies that are currently sending people commercially to space, so they're on the beginning of the ramp up, and once they're 2-3 years into the ramp up, and everybody in the first world knows somebody that's been to space, you're not going to get many new converts, so they'll have to move to the third world, and that's sad. You're seeing it now. If you're on Facebook, you'll see a lot of people from third world countries are on Facebook on flat Earth groups, and they're uneducated. They fall for it easily. I don't know if we classify Brazil as a third world country or not, but apparently that's the flat Earth following in Brazil is huge. It's very sad. Because it's a science denialism is what it is, right? It's this right here, science denialism, and it hurts people, because you have to reject science to be a flat earther. Basically, you can't, things like they say, thrust of rockets don't work in a vacuum. They say, well, that's silly. Of course, it's not true. You have to reject science to hold that position. You have to think that cartographers can't do their job. You have to think that navigators can't do their job. All these things that are now necessary. In addition, you have to think that all of the thousands or millions of people are in on it somehow, just so that the uneducated people aren't aware of it, but the uneducated are the true educated ones. I don't know. They'll switch to simulation theory, which they lack the philosophical background to defend. Yeah, and I don't have a problem with simulation theory. Okay, maybe. There's no way to test it, so there's no science. So PJCnet won't happen. Well, perhaps a few high altitude parabolic rides where people think they went to space. Yeah, well, I mean, exactly, PJCnet. You won't be convinced by it. But some person who's like, well, my uncle went to space. He looked out the window and he personally told me that he saw the curve of the earth through the window. That person won't be gullibled into believing flat earth. It ends their proselytizing, right? The faithful few will remain, and their echo chambers will just get tighter and tighter, and they'll just pat themselves on the back thinking that they're super woke. Oh my gosh. But their new converts will dry up, at least as long as somebody's uncle or parent or friend or somebody that they trust, that they know somewhere somehow went to space, they will it'll end. So all right. John Rapp, I've got it. Oh my gosh. All right. Here you go. Here is the coordinates from John Rapp. You see right there, there's like this weird looking boat thing up on the left there. Let's zoom out a little bit and see what we get when we zoom out. Oh, it's a lake. And the name of that lake is Lake Titicaca. Oh, I love it. There it is, in Peru. It's at the border of Peru and Bolivia, and yeah, that's funny. Awesome. Yes, Captain Kirk has finally been to space. I love that. So, where do the Eaton ghosts go on the Flurf map? They go to the middle. It's Pac-Man, right? They go to the middle. They once they get to the middle, they regenerate into a regular ghost, and then they can come out again. They just can't go through the tunnels as well. Have I heard the new one? People are bathing in borax to I know, I've heard that, to somehow remove the vaccine. I mean, it comes from such ignorance, because they're like, I'm totally woke, I totally know the truth. And all they're just saying things that they're believing things that somebody else just said for no reason. So yeah, I don't know. Is bathing in borax harmful? I don't think it is. It's just boric acid, I suppose, if it's not super strong. I know people drink it, and I know a small amount of it is okay to drink. But yeah, you certainly don't want to drink a lot of it, probably. I think it's fine to put, if you're going to use it to wash your car or wash your clothes, or it's really good for killing ants. I've dumped it on ant hills when I lacked ant killer. It killed the grass too, so don't do that. So somebody else said something. Professor Phil Bell. Amazonia 1 was launched on 28 February 2021 by ISRO. It's owned by the government of Brazil. Cool, but my guess is that all the flurfs in Brazil are like, it's all fake, right? So my guess is that as commercial space flights progress, flat Earth will just decrease steadily and quietly and go away in a couple years. Yep, I think so. Here's a question for PJCnet, who's in here. If a person you trusted went to space. Let's say they orbited, right? We're in the beginnings of commercial space flight. Let's say they orbited 2 or 3 times before they came back down. Right, so we're a few years out from that. SpaceX can do it now. Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic aren't there yet, but let's say they did. PJCnet, a friend that you trusted, a family friend, a relative, somebody that you trusted, came back and said, yep, I orbited for a while. What would you say to that? Any flat earthers, PJCnet, for example, what would you say? Somebody you trusted. That's the thing. If they said, yes, I went to space, and you trust them, and you think space doesn't exist, one of those things has to give, doesn't it? Right? Real Cygnus, might be too much debris soon. Yes, absolutely. So it was today, Russia blew up one of their old satellites that's in an orbit slightly higher than the ISS. Why did they do that? They must have known that there was going to be debris, but apparently they didn't care. So the ISS went into, what do you do? Well, they went into their escape capsules, basically. So they got woken up early. It was like 5 a.m. They were going to wake up around later, but they said at about 6 a.m. you need to be in your capsules in case you get hit and the whole station gets holes or whatever and it depressurizes so that you can return to Earth. So they did that. Fortunately, nothing was hit, but there's a whole bunch of debris up there now. Russia, stop it. That was stupid. Which is dumber? I love this. Thinking the earth is flat or thinking people will ever stop believing dumb things. Oh, of course. Which is dumber? I don't think anybody thinks that people will stop believing dumb things. I don't think smart people think that. So yeah, thinking the earth is flat is maybe it is dumber to think that people will stop thinking dumb things, but nobody really thinks that. So, but actually people do think the earth is flat. So PJCnet, we have an answer. If they definitely went up and were clever enough to know where wasn't anything like virtual windows and they felt weightless for many hours, then I'd reevaluate. And then he goes to his religious mantra, but it won't happen. But it won't happen. And here it is. Chapter 2, the first page of Science Denialism. Item number 5, setting impossible expectations for what science can achieve. Or just in general, impossible expectations. So PJCnet was fooled into thinking the earth was flat through garbage, low quality, super low convincing evidence. Right? He got into it through these super low standard of evidence requirements. But for him to get out, it has to be definitely not virtual windows. What? And they definitely have to feel weightless for many hours. Then I would believe them. No, I would reevaluate. That's it. That's how ridiculous that standard of evidence he has to take anything contradictory. That's hypocritical, PJCnet. But I appreciate that you're here to talk to about it. Fred Farkle says, could you proactively explain to the flurfs why the lunar eclipse in a few days will appear toward the top of the moon? And where is Turtle? I've not actually looked into any of the details of the upcoming eclipse, other than that it is supposedly one of the longest eclipses that we'll see. So I think that's a good thing. I will, I probably won't do a live stream. Well, I might tomorrow with Jason. We'll see. Yeah, why it will appear toward the top of the moon. So I don't know. I will definitely look into that. Even more to the point though, for flat earthers. And PJCnet, I mean, it doesn't matter which map. Not at all. So pick your map of choice. Pick this one or pick the, let's see. Let me find it. I'll get it for you. There it is. Or this map. How would the, if the sun and moon are both floating above the flat plane, as you claim, what is going to cast the shadow on the moon? What is? What will be getting in the way between the sun and the moon? Because on here, they're just on opposite sides, but there's nothing in between. On Jason and I don't know, the derpy Pac-Man map there. Again, it's they're just both above the plane and nothing is between them. Why would you think that is even any possibility? Instead, it's ridiculously poor judgment, PJCnet, to continue believing that somehow we can predict when and where, right, an eclipse will be seen, right? You'll see the lunar eclipse, no matter where you are. Where a solar eclipse is very specific to where you are. We can predict that, but no flat Earth idea predicts it at all. No flat Earth idea even has a reason why it would happen. So I don't know. I mean, this is really craziness. So Paul has the classic nope. He's gonna nope it away. So. Oh, did PJCnet say you have to get around and look around? Let's see, PJCnet, I don't think it's a globe. Something is very wrong with space flight. Oh, that's it. That's all you got. Professor Philbell, telling Russia not to test anti-satellite weapons is like telling them to give up their nuclear weapons. Yeah. I got it. Russia don't care. And China's not very much better either. They deorbit stuff without caring about where it's going to come down. So they're not very good global neighbors, I guess. Did I take into account the simulation and the local sun? I mean, it's your get out of jail card if you need to go to simulation theory. That's it. It's like, I can't explain it. Makes no sense. So I'll just make up something even more crazy, for which there's no evidence, and just proudly declare that that's definitely it. Because I know that's what the derps, Jason and Ronnie do. So Aromatics says, great stream tonight. It's always great. Good night. Well, thank you very much, Aromatics. But that does remind me, it's been 2 hours, and what I think maybe I will do is I will take the first part of this and put it standalone as well as having this one, because I talked a lot, and so I just want to have the response to Gregory's silly gravity data doesn't exist because I plug my ears, standalone. So I'll probably do that. Anyway, let's see. Matthew forces. This latest reason was from China shooting down a satellite. I thought it was like 10 years ago. You sure it wasn't Russia? It was Russia today. But China, I think this calendar year, deorbited a rocket that they used to send something up, but they did not deorbit it intentionally, or where they maybe should do it more smartly. People were concerned that it was going to hit land instead of going to the ocean. So Derp Squirrel says, hey now, calling them the derps is quite insulting to us actual derps. Sorry, Derp Squirrel. So anyway, thank you very much, everybody. I'll see if I can make it happen tomorrow at 10 p.m. Central Time. So it'll be a little late, especially if you're in Europe or anywhere in England. But see if I can make it work with Jason tomorrow at 10. it can't work at 8 p.m. So anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. It's been good. I'm glad to have all of you here. I'm glad that Gregory was here. I'm glad to see PJCnet, that the detractors are welcome. Even Brandon Fail, who's good at failing. I appreciate them, but I do more definitely appreciate the people with their brains attached inside their heads still. Thank you to channel members and patrons, and to super chats. I thank you so much for what you do. It makes what I do all that much better. That's all I've got. That's all I got. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. So anyway, we'll see you all later.